Protect your car with 3W Liners all-weather floor mats. Made from durable materials like TPE and rubber, our mats are designed to withstand rain, snow, and mud with deep grooves to trap dirt and liquids. For a custom fit and advanced protection, visit 3W Liners. That's the number 3, WLINERS.com today. At Acasis, innovation drives us. Since 2008, we've been creating cutting-edge technology products that make your life easier. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit Acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com. Unlock a world of convenience with Mully Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. From gourmet snacks to unique finds, each box is tailored to your taste. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.
It is the Cam Show on Rogue Media Sports Network, coming to you live on YouTube on a Friday, getting you into the weekend with all the Boston sports News, I guess. But really just, me bitching all day. So we're glad that you joined along. I am Cam Stewart. Zach Burke is keeping us on the air. We've got some Patriots talk off the top, talking about expectations for next year, and also looking at, of course, it being a Friday. And I say, of course, even though I think we took last week off doing this, the best and worst things we watched this week. And then Pete Souza will join the show later to talk about something I've avoided, a topic I've avoided, but I wanted to get Pete in on this. Two guys from some great sports towns. We're going to talk a little Big Cat, and we're going to talk about where your sports loyalties should be. So all that and more coming up on this episode of The Cam Show. So big offseason, of course, for the Patriots. They go and get their second head coach in the last 2 years. And now they look to move forward, which is going to be a trudge forward, I would say. I don't think it's going to be all that much better than this past year. It should be better, but I'm not going to say, hey, they're going to, make the playoffs and go to the divisional round, challenge for the division title with Josh Allen. I don't know that that's necessarily coming, but honestly, the more I think about it, the more I see that there are examples, that there are teams out there that have done this recently, that have been in a situation close to what the Patriots are in right now and have turned it around rather quickly. And, is it sustainable? These teams become dynasties? No, not necessarily. Some are still waiting on it. But even I look at Buffalo, like Josh Allen was such a stretch his first year. He was such a project. And yet in year 3, they were the division champs. And in year 2, they were a goal line stand away from potentially taking the division against the Patriots, taking it from the Patriots. And then they were a playoff team. So it's not crazy to think that within a year or two here, the Patriots should be back, or not should be, could be back. The difference there is that Buffalo had some pieces already in place. And realistically, when you look at the Patriots, this roster is so far off from that. It's great to have Mike Vrabel in. I think Mike Vrabel's the right guy. And I do think that will be a success, but it's going to take a lot for them to make a big leap this year. That said, the Patriots are in this new era, and part of why they're in this new era is because not only do they have the new head coach in Mike Vrabel, but they've also got a top 5 draft pick. Yes, coulda, woulda, shoulda been number 1, should have been number 1. And they also have all this money, 120, 130 million, whatever the figure is in cap space to go out and spend this year. And if you want to take one silver lining, I guess, from this season, again, one of the things you didn't succeed in, but is a silver lining, is that from all reports, it seems like the Patriots were ready to spend that money. Brandon Ayuk, now T. Higgins is going to be the talk, that they are willing to put a ton of money out there. And there are going to be some free agents out there that can absolutely fill the Patriots' needs. Ronnie Stanley from Baltimore, the tackle, is going to go to market here. And he's got a bit of an injury history, but if you're willing to splash all that cash at a wide receiver, a number 2 wide receiver, imagine what you would spend looking at this team, what you would spend on a number 1 left tackle. Okay? That is going to be a potentially huge payday for Ronnie Stanley, who's the biggest tackle free agent on the market and seems like he is going to go to market. And then you talk about the T. Higgins discussion again. And Stephon Diggs is going to be a free agent. A guy who his best years are behind him, sure, but still has proven to be a productive receiver. And with the receiver position in general, there are going to be guys that become available in the offseason. It's just the nature of the position. These guys get fed up and they magically become available. But looking at what the Patriots could do next year, I think it's a lot to say that they're going to make the playoffs next year. But there are 2 teams I looked at from this season, 2024, that give me hope towards that. Because I went back and I looked to see the over-under totals projections for wins for NFL teams going into this year. And the two teams at the bottom with 4.5 on the over-under were the New England Patriots and the Denver Broncos. One of those teams won 4 games. Another one of those teams made the playoffs for the first time in a decade. And they were both ushering in new quarterbacks, rookie quarterbacks. Drake May was picked, however many spots ahead of Bo Nix, 10 spots ahead, 9 spots ahead, whatever it was. And had a lot more hype going into the season, but you did know it was going to take some time to get him out there on the field. And I think Drake May has more upside than Bo Nix. I really do. But Bo Nix leads them to the playoffs, year one. This was a team in flux. They had to cut bait with one of the biggest free agent signings in their history in Russell Wilson, and it looked like an absolute disaster. And here comes Bo Nix, the man they used to call Bo Picks in college, and he leads them to the playoffs. I keep looking at this list. Patriots and Broncos at 4.5, just barely ahead of them at 6.5 wins. A team with the same record as the Patriots last year at 4-13. The Washington Commanders. Another team with low expectations that's ushering in a rookie quarterback in a tough division. And lo and behold, the Washington Commanders are in the divisional round. They're winning a playoff game for the first time in almost 20 years. And they had similar expectations to the Patriots coming into this year. First-year head coach, rookie quarterback, and there they are playing this weekend. And the Patriots are stuck with their thumb up their butt, seeing who they're going to pick in the top 5 in the draft. Washington, did they have a ton of pieces in place? No. They had the same team that the Patriots did last year. Of course, they beat the Patriots in Foxborough, but they had Sam Howell at quarterback. They had a good receiver in Terry McLaurin, who had never played for a good quarterback in his life. And Jaden Daniels becomes a revelation. Looks awesome as a rookie. Drake May also looked awesome as a rookie. The thing with Washington is they had some cap space, and they went out and they got some guys. Were they, young? Not necessarily. Impact? Still, yeah. Yes. Like they went out and they got veterans, a bunch of Cowboys for Dan Quinn, but they got veteran players who are proven in this league. Dorrance Armstrong, Tyler Biotish, Austin Eckler, Bobby Wagner, who's going to be in the Hall of Fame. Man, Dante Fowler Jr. They even a backup like Mariota who needs to fill in for a game or two. Zach Ertz. They bring in all these guys and they contribute to the team right away. And now you are helping out this young quarterback with a new coach who has kind of been there and done that. So that's different from Gerard Mayo, but not different from Mike Vrabel, right? He's been there and done that. Dan Quinn had coached in a Super Bowl. We all remember that. And then he's a pretty successful coordinator with Dallas. Now Mike Vrabel, pretty successful head coach, takes he's got another couple of coordinator jobs before that, and obviously the consultant job after that. Like their resumes are not too much different. Outside of that year and that the Falcons went to the Super Bowl, like basically he had one more win than Vrabel. Vrabel got to an AFC Championship game. So you look at the leap that Washington took this past year, and you have to wonder, is that so crazy for the Patriots to do? I saw a tweet, I think it was Andrew Callahan was talking about that on Twitter of like, hey, it's not that crazy. It would be pretty surprising considering the roster that the Patriots have right now. But the roster that the Patriots have right now should be grossly different from the roster the Patriots have when they hit training camp. And Jaden Daniels was obviously came out of the blocks on fire. But then again, with what we saw for Drake May the last, 10 weeks of the season, there's no reason to believe he can't have a year like that next year, that he can't carry his team a little bit. And hopefully you can get someone of Terry McLaurin's ilk in free agency. You're probably gonna have to throw a bag at him. And it's probably T. Higgins. But at this point, you know, I would look at a potential Brandon Ayuk deal from this past year and now T. Higgins and come up with some things that I don't like about it. You know, and there's plenty of stories around the league of these guys who are the number 2 receiver or number 2 at any one of their positions, and they try to make that leap and get that number 1 money and be that number 1 guy, and they can't be that number 1 guy. There's plenty of examples through time around the league that has happened. And that would be something I'd be wary of at a position like wide receiver, to give that kind of money, that kind of cap space to a guy who has not proven to be that number 1 guy before, especially when you think you have a talented quarterback. But that said, when you are where the Patriots are, you can't be too picky. This is not unlike 2021, where you said with the Patriots, you know what? You got to spend money. You're probably going to have to overpay for some guys, but you got to spend money. And it worked. They got to the playoffs, man. They were the number 1 seed in the beginning of December, which doesn't count for anything, but they had a pretty good year. And they brought in, you know, Matthew Judon and Devon Godshaw and Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith and Devontae Parker or was it Aguilar? You know, not all of them worked, obviously. Some of them really failed miserably, but you improved your team in one offseason. You improved it dramatically, actually. It was only by 3 wins, I guess, from the 7-9 COVID Cam Newton team to the 10-7 Mac Jones rookie team. But that team in 21 was much more competent, much more competent. And so that's part of this. You've got to draft well. You've got to have the right coach in there, but you've also got to be willing to spend the money. And this is where Elliott Wolf is going to kind of sing for his supper here. All right. Like I don't think year 1 was good. I think you can make an argument that it's tough to judge a GM off 1 year with a situation like this, but I think he made one good move the whole season. And the rest of that draft, obviously Drake May, outside of that, the rest of that draft is horrible. You didn't draft one impact player. You didn't draft one guy who could positively impact this team, which was the worst in football until the final day of the season. You couldn't draft one rookie who could participate in that team. You got Jalen Polk in the 2nd round, who was literally 133rd out of 133 receivers in his PFF rank. Horrible, worst in the league. You drafted that guy with what? The 2nd, 3rd pick in the 2nd round? I think that's damning. And I don't think we know what is inside the resume of Elliott Wolf. His first, dozen years working in the league or for the Packers, which is a great to have on your resume. But when you look at the last name, it's like, oh, yeah, your dad was the Hall of Fame GM of the Packers. Oh, okay, I get it. Your dad. Got it. Like, I don't know who comes in and it's like, oh, well, this is the guy. This is the guy that should be running the organization. But certainly there should be questions around Elliott Wolf even after year 1. I would have really pushed for Mike Borgonzi, the assistant for the Chiefs, who is a New England guy and has Patriots ties as well. But that's neither here nor there. You bring in Cowden, a guy that Vrabel really likes, and we'll see who's making the decisions here. But with this kind of cap space and the draft picks that you have, because there are a lot of ways for the Patriots to get a couple first-round picks this year. There are plenty of ways they can draft into the first round, trade back. There's all kinds of ways they can have a couple picks in the first round. When you have those kinds of luxuries, I don't think it's crazy to say you can challenge for a playoff spot, that you can be in the mix until December. You know, I don't think it's nuts to say that you could be like what the Colts were this year. And we're in it till the last couple of weeks of the season. And the Denver thing, the Washington thing, that might be a bridge too far. But if you look at their roster and who they have and what their expectations were going into the season, maybe it's not a bridge too far. Maybe it's not. Because those teams had pretty similar expectations to the Patriots. In the case of Denver, the same, literally the same over-under in wins. And they won what, 10 games, 11 games? And the Patriots hit the under. They won 4. So maybe it's not as crazy as some people would think. Because I see the free agents out there, free agents at tackle, like you can go and get your guys at tackle in free agency. You don't have to use the number 4 pick on Will Campbell, who there's a big concern whether he is a tackle in the NFL or whether he's just going to be a guard if he's big enough to play tackle. That is not a risk you can take at number 4. I'm sorry. And I trust Vrabel, but that's not a risk you can take. Because if he becomes a friggin' guard and you picked him in the top 5 or you traded back and picked him in the top 10, that's embarrassing. I mean, we crucified the Patriots for drafting Cole Strange as a guard at what, 29? 22? Whatever, 29? And we should have. Like, that was a bad pick. He hasn't been able to be effective at center. He was hurt this year. You tried to wasn't really effective at guard. Now you try to bring him back at center after being hurt. It's a mess. It's a mess with Cole Strange. So you cannot pick an interior offensive lineman in the top 10 of the draft. You can't do it. And there are questions around Will Campbell being that. And hey, if you can trade back into the first round in, I don't know, the 20s, and Will Campbell is still there because there is that question mark about him, and 2 other tackles have already been taken, then, maybe. As much as you would get crucified for the Cole Strange pick, it's like, well, we already picked our first-round guy. We had an easy way to get back in the first round. We need to fix all of our offensive line. Like, there's an argument there, but definitely not in the top 10. And when you look at where those teams were at, Washington and Denver, going into this year, very similar to what you were going into last year, and you're actually in a better spot going into this year because you have a somewhat proven commodity at quarterback. Somewhat. I'm not ready to crown the kid yet. But look, Drake May had a pretty impressive season. Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix had not yet had that. So what I'm trying to say is, yeah, the Patriots are going to make the playoffs in 2025. I've talked myself into it. Hopefully I did for you too. Let me know what you think down in the comments below on YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe. About 90 to 95% of you who watch or not subscribe helps out the channel a lot. We bring you fresh Boston sports content every day. Tell me how stupid I am down in the comments below and ring that notification bell to get notified when we're going live every day at high noon Eastern time. And then after that, wherever you get your podcasts. Coming up next, the worst things we watched this week with my friend, my producer, Zach Burke. That's next on The Cam Show.
Ready to bring your vision to life? At Small Rig, every idea, design, and product is inspired by you, the creator. With our industry-first under co-design mode and the Dream Rig free customization project, we unite with global creators to turn big dreams into reality. Whether it's a cage rig or mount, Small Rig's versatile gear is built to elevate your craft. Small Rig, where your creativity meets our innovation. Go to smallrig.com.
Want to turn your passion into profit? With Blogify, creating a blog has never been easier. Build, customize, and grow your site with powerful tools designed for beginners and pros alike. Start sharing your story today and watch your audience grow with Blogify. Download Blogify now in the App Store. Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com. That's CLEAN email.com. Stay connected no matter where you are with eSIMX. Say goodbye to expensive roaming charges and physical SIM cards. With access to over 200 global carriers, we make mobile connectivity seamless and affordable for travelers worldwide. Join the future of communication today at esimx.com. That's ESIMX.com.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
It is Matt Mosley, and it's the Obstructed View podcast, Rogue Media Network. I think they're learning that there's really no wonderful view of me. See, I feel like they think this feed's going to be really wonderful.
There must have been, no BS, like 20 scouts, 15 to 20 NBA scouts there to see him, and he was top 5.
When your old number wasn't working, I went through various channels to track you down. So unfortunately, you can never get away from me. But I'm happy. I'm happy to have you today.
No, thanks for having me. And you know we always family, no matter where I'm at.
Welcome to a special edition of the Doomsday Podcast. Look at this. We got one of the great golfers in the world, certainly one of the great pass rushers in NFL history.
But he also had a vision for you. And so it was like you had the best of both worlds, right? You had somebody on you early, and then you had somebody who was maybe
more relaxed.
What were a couple of your biggest takeaways?
The person you referred to that I spoke with, I've spoken to some personnel people and general managers of the league to get some, independent, objective assessments of the players the Cowboys picked, and we'll go through that.
Has the general manager changed at all in the draft room?
Nope, it's been the same since I was here the last time.
We are back. It's the Cam Show. It's Cam Stewart, Zach Burke.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you so good.
Sweet. All right, then we're good. Sometimes that doesn't work, so.
Before we get into this, I just noticed something during the commercial break that is kind of funny. So I texted my dad last night because I know he likes these kind of things. And first off, he did not answer my text.
Okay.
But he did post about it on Facebook, which is a very, very 66-year-old man thing to do.
Yeah.
And this is how he prefaces that. Like, such a wordsmith, aka this is going to sound really douchey.
All right, I'm ready for the Bill Dozer.
He posts, from my son who lives at the intersection of history, culture, and trivia.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Also known as Evanston, Illinois, I guess. He says, and then he pastes, or he doesn't paste it. He kind of he plays around with the words a little bit. The
paraphrases a bit. I got you.
Yeah. The house where the Doors wrote "Light My Fire" burned in the LA wildfires last night. And then the other ironic things I told him: the LA Kings had to cancel a home game last week against.
I know this one. So do you want me to go against the Calgary Flames?
Against the Flames. That's
also. Do you have the Clippers too?
No,
because the Clippers had to postpone with the Heat.
No,
they did.
Because I do have this one from earlier this year. You remember the big natural disaster that hit the Tampa area, and during the fall, the Tampa Bay Lightning had to move a home game earlier this year against
Carolina,
the Carolina Hurricanes. Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh, sports, man.
And so that's all he posts. And there's two comments under it. And one of them is from this lady, Judy.
Oh,
and she says,
come on, Judy.
She goes, how is this remotely funny? I don't know, because we're not all fucking lame like you.
I mean, Judy is asking the hard questions.
First off, it's like barely even a joke. Like it's irony is what it is. Like that's not even like there's no punchline to it. It's just ironic, man. It's fucking God is having the sense of humor, not me.
Probably more so than Alanis Morissette's song at this point.
Well, yeah,
the same. It might be coincidence, but still.
I think hers is just. I think Alanis Morissette is just like unfortunate.
Oh, so this
More
is
than
more.
anything.
Yeah, no, this is more
Yeah.
ironic than you're right.
This is irony. Yeah, irony is very not well understood by most people. This I think would be irony. Most of the time it's coincidence. This is irony. But Judy, like, seriously, live a little. First off, Bill does not write that it's like he's not like ha 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 at the end of it. It's just like, isn't this crazy? Like,
it is very
like,
interesting.
I know he probably got a morbid chuckle, which we all got out of that. That's like, wow, what are the odds of that? You know what I mean?
Nobody's out there wishing anybody harm. It's just, isn't this funny? Or this situation, not the whole situation that's going on, but this individual situation about sports games that do not matter being canceled, being against opponents that also have fire or flames in their names is just humorous. It has nothing to do with actually what's going on.
No, I thought it was pretty funny that the people died.
Well, okay, well that's you. I don't.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny that they all choked on smoke because there was so much fire. That was what I was getting at with that text.
Well, then we I guess we got two separate things from that. But I'm here for at the end of the year when we get to wrap up and we get to talk about the beef with Judy from throughout the year that this is going to start.
So I don't even know who Judy is. She's apparently from. Like, she lives in my hometown, which is a small town like Riesel. So you should know who this person is. I have no idea who this person is. And Bill doesn't have Bill's not the most social guy. I don't have a ton of friends. So I don't know where this is coming from, but he's probably going to be like, ugh, what a bitch. No, he probably won't say that because he knows her. And my dad wouldn't actually ever say that about like anybody because he's super nice, but I would. It's just like, dude, he's not even, I don't know.
No,
but now this is on YouTube.
That's funny. Yeah, there you go. Well, now
she's probably watching.
We're gonna get a comment.
Live a little, dude.
What
just
part of that is supposed to be funny
man.
is what we're gonna see under
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Judy.
That's good, dude. By the way, also before we talk about things we watched, David Lynch.
I did see that.
It's too bad, man. Bob Uecker and David Lynch, same day.
Yeah, Bob Uecker was a bummer too. You know,
have you seen the Artie Lang, Norm Macdonald stories about Bob Uecker? I said this to Pete yesterday.
Yeah, no, Pete. I think I listened when Pete played it some yesterday before the show. Dude, I watched last night while we were talking about Bob Uecker. I watched Uecker on Carson, and this had to be like
right.
It had to be late 60s. Well, no, I guess technically early 70s because they talk about before they get into it. Carson's like, oh, this is the last game for the Senators. You know, they're moving to Texas, and I was like, oh shit, okay. It's just kind of weird to see. But then they just go through these just different pictures from Bob Uecker's career, and Uecker's just explaining like the things that are happening to him, and it is absolutely hilarious. But one of the ones they have there is it's a team photo, and him and Bob Gibson are like leaning into each other and holding hands and just looking like so gleeful. And he said, "We took
the Herschel Highway."
It was like we took the picture, and nobody noticed until they brought it back in. And then him and I both got fined for it. We had to retake it over again.
Oh my God.
But it was just like things like that. Or he was like, oh, what's this? And it was just him, like different shots of him as a catcher. And he's like, oh, this was my me showing you how to catch a knuckleball. And the ball is just in the ground next to him all the time. It's like, my theory was you wait for it to stop and then you pick it up. But no, I love
or when he won minor league player of the year. It was his second year in the bigs. That's one of the great Bob Uecker lines right there. Anyway, so R.I.P. R.I.P. Bob Uecker and David Lynch, man. I gotta watch Blue Velvet again.
I did see somebody oddly enough compare. I know this is weird now, but Zack Snyder as being like the next David Lynch, and I was like, that doesn't necessarily. I don't get that comparison, but okay.
If we're already going to be morbid in this segment, I might as well keep going. Because I get this thought sometimes. I think we all get it at some point. Like when someone close to us dies, or it's like someone young, and you're like, why does this, horrible person that I know just keep living and this person does not? Like I do think about that sometimes with artists, and it's like, man, why is Roman Polanski still alive? And David Lynch is not, you know what I mean? Or like even just from an artistic standpoint, like Uwe Boll is still making movies, man.
That is true.
David Lynch makes masterpieces still,
but yeah, no more David Lynch movies.
I don't do that. I don't do that in any rooted in any kind of seriousness because I'm a good Christian. But we all have those thoughts at some point. Like I had friends who died in high school, and I'd be like, I knew these strung out townies in my hometown who did nothing but fucking drink and do drugs and, drug himself to death. And I'm like, how are these people still alive? And my friend's not, and he's 17, I used to do that all the time, man. But you don't get anywhere in life. Where you do get somewhere in life is watching shitty television and movies.
That is true.
Or sometimes good. Zach,
yes,
we
sir.
skipped it last week. We're back with it.
Did.
The worst things we watched this week. I think mine are going to be commercials again, just to warn you. I'm not going to play them, but you will know.
Fair enough. I don't have clips either. Mine is just a generic.
I don't want to keep getting demonetized. So as much as we can just describe it.
Yeah. That's what we'll do.
Because that's usually the fun part of it.
It is. I gave the one for last week that I know you've seen now, and we talked about, and I talked about it with Pete again too, which was the 1994 All-American team intro for Bob Hope.
I want that orange snap jersey.
That's the thing that I love is it's like, because obviously they had one. So did he just forget it, or did it not fit when they got there? Like there's things that I wonder, because he gets a generic, like created jersey from Madden 2002 looking where it's just white and green letters when the actual other Miami teammate has an actual Miami jersey on there.
And didn't bring two of them. Didn't bring like a home and away, because else you could have just thrown them in that.
My other favorite things, Teddy Bruschi's mullet and Todd Sauerbond getting able to say a joke. They let the punter actually have a joke. And then the worst thing that I watched this week is a very blanket statement, because I watched a couple episodes, and I say watched, I didn't pick it out. I went over we were hanging out and visiting people, and it was on in the background, and each episode just ran into the next one. And I just realized how much I just do not like this show. And I feel like it's going to cause a ruffle in some people's feathers, but I just do not care.
It's Friends, isn't it?
It's NCIS.
Okay. Now, I can agree with that, actually.
So I understand like the appeal of procedurals of like, oh, things kind of stay the same, but they're just slightly different to make me think it's, a little different from episode to episode.
Yep, just a tweak of a perspective, or like that's the thing with all these. Like I never really liked NCIS, but at one point I did like Criminal Minds. I liked that they were dealing with psychology and serial killers, but like there's nothing that much different between that and NCIS and CSI.
They all just kind of. Or even like you think of a show like House, where it was like, oh, somebody's going to come in and get really sick, and everything they do to try to fix it isn't going to work till at the very end when House has a miraculous idea, and that's the episode.
You nail
that every time. Yeah,
it's going to do the Criminal Minds. Let me guess, they're always going to catch them right before they're about to kill somebody else. Wow. Yeah. Crazy. No. And then at that point, you've probably watched 3 or 4 seasons, and then it wears on you and you're done. Yeah.
No, so I get the appeal. I get the appeal of it. So it's not necessarily like there's a problem with that type of show. It was just I watched it and I realized that it is all very shticky. But one of the ones I watched was like the guy who played Tony, who's usually the hothead. Oh, he's nice. Something's got to be up because he's nice. Turns out he's dating one of the other girls that's there, but still,
he's getting laid. Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna have a whole thing of like, oh, he didn't yell at you for like I don't know. It's just like I've seen that storyline on so many other shows, and it's just weirdly like just added in here to NCIS. Also, I don't feel like there's much character growth. Like Mark Hammond is the same in season 1, episode 1. Mark Harmon, sorry.
He's so forgettable.
Yeah, it wouldn't also be this segment if I didn't butcher somebody's name.
Mark Harmon. Yeah.
And then by the end, season 5, 6, he's the same guy. He just grunts a little more. Like, I mean, there's not really. I know that's big. It's not
that is big for them, I think.
It's not the Teagarden Mysteries. I know I shouldn't expect things like that, but for Miss Aurora, but
I did, by the way, sorry to interrupt, but I did get an update from Bill, the big Aurora Teagarden fan, because I was talking about how we talked about this on the air, and he was like, oh, well, she's not doing Hallmark anymore.
Oh.
And I was like, what?
Hold on, what happened?
He was like, yeah, it's a big thing last year. He was like, they were too liberal for her. She moved on. They said it's like not religious enough or something like that. I knew Zach loved that so much that he just pieced right out of here. He had to laugh so hard off camera. But yes, apparently Aurora Teagarden, Candace Cameron, is no longer with Hallmark and is doing kind of her own thing. I knew this was kind of coming too. You don't hear about it as much, but like her brother is Kirk Cameron, like that's kind of writing on the wall. No wonder it was a Russian player that she ended up marrying, because they're all conservative too. Someone log you out?
Yeah, the guy sitting next to me, actually, one Peter Sousa. You can talk to him about him in the next segment.
Let's get on with this NCIS because I do have to talk to Pete next segment.
No, that's fine. Mine was just, I think that NCIS, I know everybody loves it, but having to sit there and actually watch it for a while, I don't get it. The only thing that's cool is the guy who plays Ducky is essentially responsible for the sample of Next Episode or Still Dre, one of the two.
Is that true?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's an awesome
I'll
sample.
double check that while you talk about yours. But
yeah, I'll bet SVU doesn't have anybody that contributed to the rap game.
Exactly.
Definitely didn't have a song about killing cops, only to play a cop on TV. Anyway, mine is a double dipper. And it's really from a broad problem that is not going to slow down, by the way. It's going to happen all the time. And that is these AI-generated commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, still the worst commercials on television streaming is Liberty Mutual. And they're everywhere, and none of them have been good. And I wouldn't mind if Liberty Mutual completely perished from the planet Earth. And Limu, Emu, and Doug were found on a street corner, gunned down. Wouldn't mind it. And so that's still the worst. But these AI generated ones, there's two that come to mind. They always come up when I'm on Hulu because Grace and I watch a lot of Hulu. Is it's a casino that's a Chicago one, so we're only getting it locally. And there's a Grey Goose one, and they both have these clear like AI songs. The Chicago casino one is like super loud, and it's this old lady with sunglasses on at the casino, and the song literally says, DJ turn me up real strong, something, this is my favorite song. Nice. And then and that's it. And the Grey Goose one, which you might have seen in somewhere before, is supposed to be like this elegant party. And it's got like swing / jazz music. And the lyrics are embedded in my brain. Tell me that a person wrote this and not a computer. Get up, get down, shake your booty all around to the party music. Clap your hands, stomp your feet. Feel the moving to the beat of the party music. That's not real. That is just like, I don't even know how to describe it, but complete like word vomit. Like that hurts my brain to listen to. It's total vomit. It's nothing. It's not saying anything.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh shit, like all the middle-aged white moms like, shake your booty. Gonna get some Grey Goose. It's a high-end night tonight. To the party beat.
I think that's
party music. Whoa.
I think that's the move in general, is to
that's appealing to a robot, man.
That's so generic. Well, here's the thing though, is they don't have to pay licensing fees.
Yes. It's going to keep happening. It's not, it's only going to get worse. We're at the beginning of this.
Because I fully believe that's what happened in that Hallmark movie that I watched, where I had to listen to the most generic sounding Christmas music ever that made up the word fa-la-la-y, which has never been used ever. Like, it has to be AI generated. And they were like, hey, you know what? We just trimmed off X amount of money from our music budget.
But now we're not going to get such great originals like that one that the girl from Waco wrote. The girl named, I think her name's Tranny. I think that's actually true. I don't know, Chevy commercial or something. It was like, I got a heart like a truck. It's been drugged through the mud. Have you not heard this, dude?
Pete says that's Lainey Wilson.
But I think it's written by a girl from Waco. I think yes, Lainey Wilson does the song, but I think it's written by a girl from Waco. I remember that being on the news.
Okay, yes, Pete. Yeah, we have confirmation that is true.
Yeah. Pete's the news guy. You should know that. The Waco news guy. It's probably done by then. Yes, it is a Lainey Wilson song. I should have clarified. Yeah. R.I.P. Lainey Wilson's ass.
On music, just to tie it in, the next episode, the Dr. Dre. I mean, it's on the Chronic, but I don't think Dr. Dre's not on it. But still, samples the 1966 instrumental song "The Edge" by David McCollum, who is the actor who plays Ducky on NCIS.
That's wild, man. Good for him.
So there you go. That is the one cool thing about NCIS.
Nice.
Yeah, because it's a jazz instrumental
from 60 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. That's pretty cool.
There you go.
Just like the Waco guy who produced Like a Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
That didn't link to anything.
Tom Wilson.
Tom Wilson. Yeah. but I just thought that'd be cool to bring up. Bob Dylan's hot right now.
Dude, well, here's the thing. Like, we did a whole...
Did you see the movie?
We did a whole documentary about him.
Yes.
The Invisible Icon.
Rogue, yes.
And when I saw the trailer, I got a little giddy because there's a guy in the studio, and I'm like, that's got to be Tom Wilson. The fact that he at least got cast, even if he doesn't have any words, that was something. But no, I haven't seen it yet. Have you seen it?
No. This is the thing, dude. I don't have any friends
Scotty
here.
saw it, right? Scotty liked it, didn't he?
And my girlfriend
Scotty
won't
liked
go to
it.
the movies, so I haven't been to the movies.
Wait, why won't she go to the movies?
She doesn't like the movies. She's for in terms of attention span, she's 15 years old.
Okay.
Like, we can't even sit here and watch a King of the Hill episode without her just scrolling through TikTok.
Okay.
And she likes King of the Hill. You know what she's big into now, as we close this thing out, is one of the great things I watched this week.
What's up?
She loves YouTube poop.
Just like random YouTube stuff.
Have you seen you're not a YouTube poop guy? I would definitely.
I don't know what you're talking about. No.
Oh my God, dude. YouTube poop. So they started like, it was really big like 15 years ago, like kind of the early days of YouTube.
Okay.
And it's just, I don't know how else to describe it, but total poop. Like, you take a King of the Hill episode or a Simpsons episode and you just edit a bunch of shit into it. Like, you'll just make them say random stuff. Things will just explode. Like, like, there's genuinely no way to describe it.
Okay.
Look this up when we're done.
Is it just randomness in
Yes,
general? Like, that's okay.
Yes. It'll be like, Bobby, clean up your ass. And then Bobby's head will explode. Like, that's it. You know, it's incredible, man. And they'll do like 5-minute or 10-minute things.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be like, it will be a narrative story at some point, but
so
anyway.
it does like the story does make sense. It's just not all
yeah,
there.
yeah, but they'll jumble it up and yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
That was the worst things we watched this week. Coming up next, we got to talk to Pete Souza about sports loyalties. That's going to be one you don't want to miss. Next on the Cam Show.
Unlock your full potential with Onnit, your go-to for premium supplements, fitness gear, and wellness essentials. Whether you're training hard, recovering faster, or just looking to feel your best, Onnit has the tools you need to perform at your peak. Visit Onnit, that's ONNIT.com, and elevate your mind, body, and spirit today. Join the Daily High Club, the premier destination for glass water pipes, vaporizers, and accessories. Since 2015, we've sold over 1 million quality products and teamed up with legends like Snoop Dogg and Tommy Chong. Ready to elevate your smoking game? Visit dailyhighclub.com for our El Primo subscription box or shop unique pieces today. Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com. Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Combine that with OrganicHemp.com's top quality CBD for ultimate balance. Start your healing journey today at GlobalHealing.com and OrganicHemp.com.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious. Find your blend at hempdelicious.com.
Get ready for epic savings at Best Buy. Right now, you can save up to $700 on select Alienware and Dell gaming products. Perfect for leveling up your gaming experience. Plus, grab the latest Android Google Pixel at an unbeatable price. Don't miss these incredible deals. Shop now at bestbuy.com and upgrade your tech today.
We've got all these transfer portal stats and what Dion did and what Fritz has done. I mean, that's the deal, man. That's the game that's being played nowadays.
Maybe a little bit unknown at quarterback. I mean, unknown to the rest of the world, but he dove into the portal and got a guy who is super, super athletic.
South Dakota State's really good. Give us a little bit of breakdown about what they can do and what Oklahoma State needs to be worried about.
Look at that form right there. I need to say nothing else about this because I found one.
Pete Souza. I can't hear you. I cannot hear you. Let's see if we can unmute you here. Oh, I can't do that. The guest chose to mute themselves. Yeah. Okay. Pete Souza is going to join the show momentarily here. We're working on him. This is, I got something over there, I think.
How about now?
Yeah. It's not on the mic, but I can hear you. Oh, there we go. Anyway, I'm going to bring in Pete Souza in a moment here. Friend of the show, also host of the Pete Souza Show, which is our lead-in, our awesome lead-in. That's why we were getting better numbers this week, because we have this great lead-in on the Rogue Media Sports Network with Pete Souza. We're going to talk a little fan loyalty thing, because this is something that I have admittedly, I've always been a douchebag about. I've always been kind of dickish about, but it's been big in the news recently. And Pete's a big-time sports guy, obviously from a big-time sports town in Philly. So we're going to go over what sports loyalty actually means in the grand scheme of things and what it means to your audience. And boy, this is going to be one heck of a buildup to get to the great Peter R. Souza, Esquire. Pete, I don't want to give too much of it away, so I'm just gonna talk about Pete here. Inside the 12, ESPN, the Pete Souza Show, a great pass rusher in his day. He would give Abdul Carter a run for his money in the top 5 of the NFL draft this year. Trust me, he would. Also a scout in his day, so he could tell me why Abdul Carter should be still there at 4. He's been one of the very best to do it. He and McShay were like Gumble to Gumble in that crime drama. Really like a peanut butter and jelly of the football scouting world. And just as I do my Matt Mosley impression, Pete is out of the studio entirely. He can't hear me. I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
How about now?
Oh my God, Pete, you sound great.
Hey,
you sound great, Pete.
Zach, thank you to him for scrambling over here to make this work. Thank you for that introduction.
You're welcome, Pete.
Yeah.
This is Pete Souza, friend of the show, Pete Souza of the Pete Souza Show on the Rogue Media Sports Network.
Can I start with something?
Yes, you can.
So we were talking about Bob Uecker, and you sent me the Norm clip, which I loved. So I remember listening to that specific show with Artie and Norm, okay? Now, there was a part of that interview that has been completely scrubbed from the internet, okay? It's a part in which, and somebody tweeted about it yesterday. I was so happy to see this.
Validation.
A Hogan Rapid Response is the name of this person. I have no idea who they are. But when I was searching for this video, I found this. And the guy tweets, this is yesterday. Now that Bob Uecker has passed, I hope someone restores the audio of Norm Macdonald and Artie Lang telling Uecker's story of him and Ken Boyer having Don Drysdale fake arrested by their cop buddy. So Uecker and Ken Boyer.
This is on YouTube, by the way, just not in the same thing.
So have you found it?
Yes. So Artie did a podcast, like he might still be doing it, but like years later, he did his own like unfiltered podcast where he told the story. Yeah.
Dude, where basically I remember this now. So all of a sudden Don Drysdale's pissed because Ken Boyer and Uecker were messing with him and they had him fake arrested. So Drysdale has a bunch of Frank Sinatra's mafia goons kidnap Ken Boyer and threaten to kill him.
Take him to the desert. Yeah.
As a return on the prank.
Like, take him to the desert with a bag over his head. They got him from the Dodger Stadium parking lot and put guns to his head in the desert.
I mean, you
got
him.
him.
What a prank.
What a
Holy-
prank. Dude.
Oh, man. I mean,
It was so funny, like that. Like Artie Lang and Norm Macdonald are two of the funniest people I've ever heard ever, and they're like, no joke, Bob Uecker's the funniest guy I've ever met. Like they're like, and naturally, he is one of the most incredible figures ever. Like that.
I don't want to do.
Oh
like
my
I could
God,
sit here
dude.
and recant all that with you. People just need to go watch it.
It-
Search it
yes.
and watch it. It's Artie and Norm talking about their experiences, and then when Norm comes
Did all
back,
that fucking shit.
yeah, and then Uecker is pissed at Norm because Artie took everything that they did and brought it to Letterman and told all the stories.
Artie Klein, yeah.
And Uecker, Artie Klein. All right, so sorry, I had to.
By
open
the
up-
way, one last thing, because that Artie Klein thing, when he says it, the way they present it, the person I heard was not Bob Uecker, but the person I heard saying it the way that he did was Matt Mosley.
Stop it.
When he says, remember what he says? He goes, your friend Artie Klein, he
must be
must
running
be short on material. Yeah, like that is 1000% something Matt Mosley would say. That is absolutely something he would say. I'd be surprised if he hasn't said something like that to me before. Anyway,
Yeah.
Pete Souza, I want to talk to you about sports loyalties and specifically this Big Cat story.
What is going on with this?
So, a quick recap for those who don't know, which both of you. Big Cat, I knew of this a couple years ago because on Kirk's show, it was revealed like 2-3 years ago that Dan Katz, Big Cat, is the Chicago guy, is not from Chicago. He's from Newton, Massachusetts, which is a super ritzy suburb of Boston. It's actually where BC is. And there's like a caller into Kirk's show that's called Dan from the Lake in Newton. And he just calls as Dan Katz using his Boston accent and using like literally Newton specific slang. He calls people mushes. And this was revealed big time, like last week on the Surviving Barstool thing. And now Big Cat has to like do these apologies. He's done all kinds of explanations. And what we didn't know, we did know that he was from Newton and that he had family in Chicago and he's lived in Chicago for a while. He went to the University of Wisconsin. But what we didn't know until recently was that he was a massive Boston sports fan growing up. He grew up right in the shadow of the city and like closer to the city than I was and was a big time fan. He's like, yeah, Nomar was my favorite player. I was a big Patriots fan. There's pictures of him in a Tom Brady jersey. And like at the time that he's graduating high school and going to college is like the like best time to be a Boston sports fan, right? Patriots dynasty and Red Sox are reversing the curse. And just suddenly he's a Chicago fan and a Chicago guy. And now all these like blog posts and tweets are coming out. Like the hot one this week is about like from 2013. He was like, oh, now we get to see all the 10th anniversary of the Steve Bartman stuff. Ugh, like that's what we want to see. And he wrote a whole blog about it. And it was like, but you weren't even a fan. You weren't a fan yet. Like you've admitted that. And he was like, yeah, well, the Chicago teams are always my second team, which always bugs me being from a big time sports town. But I know you probably have different opinions on that. But whatever, that's fine. He also said that the Braves were his second team, which were like a Cubs rival, so to speak. So anyway, that's what's come out this last week and a half, that the Chicago guy, like the fans' voice of Chicago sports, really on a national level is Big Cat. And he's not from there and didn't grow up rooting for those teams. And so now he's trying to backtrack it all. And I have a couple of opinions on this, but I do want your initial take first.
Well, this is why I'm awesome and Big Cat is kind of a fraud. Okay. And I rarely say that I'm awesome, but I will say at least I'm honest. Like I know if you put this stuff on paper that I say to you, I sound crazy and I sound like a fair weather fan. But the truth is, this is just me and who I am. I'm putting it out there for you. I don't act like the Raiders are my favorite team and I don't love the Eagles. Like truth be told, at the core, I'm an Eagles fan. But I'm like a little jaded. I'm misguided. I'm all over the place with some of my fan allegiance and loyalty and who I root for. And I know if I share that with someone like you, it's not going to go over well, but I still dig in and share it and take your shit because
Yeah.
your shit is warranted. Big
And
Cat,
also, yeah, okay. So that's a good self-reflection though, saying that shit is warranted, right?
Yeah, totally.
Like I'll give you an example. So like I have jerseys from other teams. I'm gonna go to a Blackhawks game in a couple of weeks versus the Oilers because I love Connor McDavid. So I'm gonna wear my Connor McDavid jersey. I did the same thing a couple of years ago when they played in Dallas, and there were some Oiler fans that were there that had traveled from Canada and were asking me about, oh, what do you think of the season and everything? And I had to be like, guys, look, I'm a big Connor McDavid fan. I'm really a Bruins fan. I watch the Oilers plenty, but I'm not like a fan.
Yeah.
And like I felt icky saying that. It was the truth. I knew I needed to say that. I knew I couldn't pretend to be. And like my mom got me a Blackhawks jersey for Christmas. There'll be a time where I'm sure I go to a game and I wear a Blackhawks jersey and I'll cheer when they score a goal. But I'm not pretending to be like in my everyday life a fan. And the other difference is here, Pete, you're not saying like I'm the Raiders guy. Like I'm
not at all.
your Raiders authority.
That's where Big Cat is now. That's where he's brilliant. Like the guy is so talented, right? Like it's very clear, like he would be successful at almost whatever he chose to do. I believe that he's one of those guys. But he figured out he had something going, and boy, did he lean in. And
sure,
it's just like
a lot of people for a long time.
Yeah, and it's just like a lot of like first take stuff and a lot of the stuff. And I've done it once in a while here, even on my show, where it's like you feel sort of strongly about something and you just kind of go all the way in because it's more compelling that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I sometimes find myself leaning heavily into stuff that like, wow, like the more I talk, I get revved up and it sort of like goes that direction. And now here we are. And I know that makes for pretty good content too. And you kind of have to be true with yourself or true to yourself, and not whore yourself out, but also look, man, we're in the entertainment business. It's true. So you have to keep that in mind, when you see that this fan allegiance thing with him, like he knows exactly what he's doing. He's like Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. And so the thing is, and you know this about me, because we've talked about this plenty of times, like there's nothing I hate more than like a bandwagon fan or fake fans. Like I hate that, because whether you think it's stupid or not, it's something I take very seriously. It's a big part of my personality. It's a big part of where I come from. So like, to me, that's a big thing. And there are a few, you've also heard how hard I can be about this. To me, there's really like 5 great sports towns in America, like really great, dyed in the wool sports towns. We're from 2 of them, by the way.
Yeah.
And like, those are places you can't fuck with when it comes to this. And Big Cat,
Chicago's another.
Big Cat did not fuck with 1. He fucked with 2. He fucked with probably the top 2 sports towns in America, in Boston and Chicago. And so now no one's happy. No one's happy with him. And I'm sure there are people from Philly who do not have a dog in the fight, or Pittsburgh or New York. And they're like, oof, this is kind of shitty, man. Really? Like, imagine if this happened here. Like that, it would be, it's, some people will think it's the stupidest thing in the world. And of course, it's not life and death at the end of the day. But this is something that we take seriously. And those are 2 places where it's, those, Boston and Chicago and Philly as well, where you're from, is like, you don't have a choice in the matter. You become a fan because your parents and your brothers and your grandparents are fans, and it is dyed in the wool. Like it's
another
no
threat
bullshit
here too.
I don't like. I've lived outside of Boston for 10 years. I have never once been a fan of another professional sports team. Never.
So there's another thread here. I'm so pissed I can't see you on the StreamYard because I really wish I could. When I look over at Zach, I can. That's okay. That's okay. So when there's another thread here, it's way more interesting sometimes to root for the underdog. And by the time Big Cat had reached this platform, the Patriots were winning multiple championships, right? The Celtics were elevating to reclaim. I guess they already had, actually. They'd already won a title, probably.
08, yeah.
In 08, yeah. But obviously,
but that's all right. So
you're now, it's more interesting to cheer for a team that sucks.
I guess, but it's not your team.
Doesn't matter. It's all about, we're talking about moving the needle and interest and stuff. Even sometimes I will say this, it's more fun for me cheering for this. The only team I ride with all the time, and even now it's tough because honestly, they almost feel somewhat irrelevant. I hate to say that, is Villanova, but that's just like what's going on.
Okay, so then would you stop being a Villanova fan after 2018? We won 2 out of 3. What am I going to do now?
Because I had been so on the record, and Villanova winning a championship was like, for me, it was like literally like your neighborhood winning a championship. Not only was I involved with the school, but it's right where I lived. There was just too much there. And I'd always ridden with Villanova through the darkest of times. But when teams get really good, there's something almost like, I don't know, if you like, he didn't get the chance to share with the public his like downtrodden years. So then it's not as fun to celebrate the great years, I don't think. Like, so I think he would love to be a Chicago downtrodden fan, and then he'd celebrate the ups. You know, it was
like,
almost a
yes,
character.
Because another thing that I remembered today, the Cubs after, the Blackhawks after they won one of the Stanley Cups, I think it was 13. They brought the Stanley Cup to Wrigley, and they did the first pitch at the Cubs game, and Big Cat was out with them. Really? And he was in all kinds of celebrations after the Cubs won the World Series in 2016. And it's like, again, he is a fan. Like, he follows them all now. But, like, you didn't suffer through that. You know what I mean? Like, especially the Cubs. We're talking about 108 years, man.
Like, why did it not take them 5 minutes to figure out that this was fraudulent behavior? And this didn't, like, because that's pretty extreme. Like when you're celebrating with the team, with an organization in a city that hasn't won a title in 100 years.
Yeah.
Like you're acting like you've had skin in the game the whole time.
It rubs me the wrong way as a sports fan. And I do. Yeah. I love Big Cat, even though I knew he was from Newton, didn't know that he was such a big Boston sports fan. And I don't think this dips his popularity, but I think there will be people that are like, anytime he talks about the Bears, you just be like, that's kind of really Big Cat. Like, you know,
that's how I knew him, and I kind of like that about him. I still like him. I think he's cool, and you know,
I think he's cool. I'll let him know. I'll tell him.
Cool dude. He's I like him, but yeah, I had bought it. I was like totally fooled. I thought he was Mr. Chicago. I didn't know.
How could you not, man? How could you not?
Yeah. No.
Imagine if McShay, because you're friends with Todd McShay. Imagine if McShay told you.
We used to be like best friends, but
sure.
We're friends. Yeah.
Imagine if he was like, oh yeah, Portnoy moved from New Jersey to Swampscott.
Well,
junior year of high school, man. He was big into the Devils.
The Barstool would have never worked. Like,
yeah, man.
Portnoy
that would be insane.
He oozes authenticity. That's why Barstool works, because it's real.
And that's why this is a bigger deal.
Yeah. Well, that's why Big Cat is just a player in all this. Like, and he's not Dave Portnoy. If it was Dave Portnoy, I think it wouldn't matter because there's so much money involved. Like Dave would maneuver it somehow. But he oozes authenticity. Portnoy does. And that's why Barstool works, because Portnoy's scary, man. I mean, I can tell you, I knew Portnoy when like he was almost like Screech from Saved by the Bell. Like he was like a skinny guy with big hair with a lot to say, and you didn't really take him seriously. I can tell you a lot of people are taking Dave Portnoy very seriously right now. Like the guy's climbed the mountaintop. He's the man. He is the man. You know.
I'm telling you, I know it's so stupid to even a lot of sports fans, but I think you understand, and it's certainly something that I would be so embarrassed if that was found out about me. I would feel like such a fraud, and I wouldn't even like, man. What
do you think he's going to do? I haven't seen. What has he done?
I mean, he's been writing blog posts. He did like this whole tell-all on the Yak, and like it's getting weird how much he's had to go in about it. But there's been other stuff uncovered that like, he told some Chicago people that no, he grew up in Chicago. He just went to boarding school in Massachusetts. And so then we're changing the story, and I just like. I guess I'm lucky in that my teams have been successful in my life that it's not like I lived in Texas during a Cowboys dynasty like that. Yeah. I didn't have to live through that. But like, I'll give you an example. I went to Baylor. I started watching Baylor around the time I was in high school because I was looking at that as a school. And that's when they started to become really good at football. But like, I don't sit there and be like, man, I remember the Kevin Steele days, you know, and that's essentially what Big Cat like does. You know what I mean? Like I've been through all this. I remember all, you know, not winning a conference game in 4 years. And like, I don't know that. I don't know the basketball
Again,
scandal and how
get
it
away
really
with this
felt.
for so long. dude?
It baffles me.
I mean,
It
I
really
make
baffles me.
one misstep on ESPN, and your boys from Barstool have got it all over the goddamn World Wide
Well,
Web.
that was funny. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, they have scrubbed some stuff. In fact,
Really?
Portnoy went to do a pizza review in Newton like last year, and part of the original tape is the owner being like, "Oh yeah, Dan Katz and his buddies used to come down here and eat all the time." Big Cat from Boston, yeah, he used to come down here all the
So
time
this
when
is a
he was at
question.
Newton
Like,
North.
is Portnoy in on this as much as you can be?
Complicit. If that doesn't make the air, if that didn't make the final video, you're complicit in that. I think. I mean, obviously, Dave would have had to know, had to have known for a long time. And what's kind of ironic about this is, Big Cat was not the original Barstool Chicago guy. It was this guy Neil, and Neil ended up getting like totally crucified because they found out he wasn't from Chicago, and so the fans didn't like it. And then Big Cat comes in as the Chicago guy, and for some respect, like if Dan Katz is a stockbroker and he's living in Chicago, same timeline, he's living in Chicago, he's a big Chicago sports fan, everything now, it's kind of like whatever. If I'm friends with him and we're going to parties together, I'm still like, oh, that's weird. Like, why would you give up Boston? Like or Philly or New York? Like, that's such a good, distinct cultural sports thing. Why would you give it up? It'd still be weird, but it's whatever. But he is the Chicago sports fan for Barstool.
I have a friend,
on the biggest podcast in America.
My buddy Nick Pict, who's a baseball savant. He comes on. He's a Yankees fan, hardcore. Grew up in Queens, but that's acceptable. You can say, okay, you like the Yankees. You're from New York.
I like
But
Queens
he
is
likes
Mets
the
country.
Lakers and the Steelers. Like, loves them. And I crucify this dude. I'm like, dude, you got to pick from the Jets or the Giants and Knicks or Nets. Like, you can't be from
those
New York
I hate it.
and have abandoned your teams like that. Like, that makes zero sense to me.
I hate that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sure he's a great guy. I really fucking hate that. And you'll see it. I mean, I went to school with a bunch of kids like this in Texas, man. It's just, I don't know if it's a cold weather thing or a Northeast thing, but like you didn't have any friends growing up who weren't Eagles fans.
Oh, no.
I didn't have any friends growing up who weren't Boston.
Matt
sports fans.
Rosado was a Cowboys fan, and he was like, we hated him.
Yeah, what a pussy. One last thing, because I try to explain this to my girlfriend, and she doesn't get it because she's not a sports fan. So like, I get
Was
it.
Oasis playing while you were trying to explain it to her?
Probably, yeah. Which is, there is something that's very valuable to me to have my future children grow up not just Boston sports fans, because that's not negotiable, but to grow up in the area. Like, I have a cousin who lives in Florida, big Boston sports fan because all his family's from there. He lived here for a while, and his kids are big Red Sox fans, but they live in Florida. And to me, that's just, it's not that you can't be a good fan. I'm not saying they're not good fans, but it's a different experience. Like, I grow up going to school every day with only Red Sox fans, only Patriots fans, only Bruins fans. And we're talking about the games the night before. We're going through the same shit together. We're going through the same, the nerves before, a Super Bowl, or the absolute despair after you lose one, and we're all going through it together. We can all talk about the same things. And
Cam,
I was a big Duke basketball fan growing up, and I wasn't abandoning that. I was still a huge fan. But it's different. I didn't have anybody, everyone. In fact, the only interaction I had with friends growing up in school about Duke basketball was when they would lose and they would rub it in my face. That was it. And so I want my kids to grow up around friends and around a community that roots for those teams. It is something to me. It does mean something to me. She doesn't get it, and I understand.
I don't get it either. What if you have like an amazing life opportunity that's somewhere else? What are you going to
Maybe, yeah.
Mass so the kids can understand the Patriots?
If I'm the voice of the Carolina Hurricanes, then yeah, we'll talk. You know what I mean?
That's what I mean.
But if all things are being equal, I want it to be in Massachusetts. I want them to grow up around that. That's all.
I guess
it's a big thing for me.
Okay. Well, I think we want to listen to Grace on this one. That's why she's a therapist. Like, let's listen to Grace.
Once she becomes the breadwinner, which will happen at some point, we'll have to talk. We'll have to talk. That's Pete Souza, who will never give up Philly.
Never.
I mean, bro, if Pete moved to Vegas tomorrow and saw how much they love the Golden Knights, he doesn't even give a shit about hockey. He would never do it. He would never do it.
I could never imagine not being. I am sort of a sellout.
He's down on the Sixers. He's not going to give up the Sixers. He's not going to say.
But the Sixers make me angry.
Correct. That's because you're a fan. Because you're Philly. That's why.
That whole organization is like, don't even get me started. Yeah.
And that's the true test of a fan, is when the organization is pissing you off.
Oh,
Patriots are getting very, very close to that for me. It obviously hasn't been a long time. I know.
Vrabel's going to give you something to be proud of.
He is. He is. Anyway, wow, we went way over time. That's Pete Souza. I'm Cam Stewart. Thanks to Zach Burke for being patient with us. We're live every weekday at noon Eastern time. Pete's live every day at 11 Eastern time, so check him out as well. Be sure to like, subscribe, all that bullshit. And we'll see you on Monday. Have a good weekend from The Cam Show.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internex.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Tusains, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit Tusains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.